Treader Bay on the western coast of Anglesey has long been known for its quiet beauty. By day, the soft sand and gentle waves make it a haven for families and visitors seeking respite. But as night falls, the cliffs and rocky promontories take on a different character, one that has drawn stories of ghostly figures for generations. Among these legends, none is more enduring than that of the White Lady of Treader Bay. Local tradition tells of a woman in white who appears along the cliffs near the mansion of Craigie Moor. The house itself is imposing, sitting high above the bay, its stone walls weathered by decades of salt and wind. It was constructed between 1911 and 1922, designed by Frederick George Hicks in the Neo-Georgian style, and commissioned by industrialist William Smellie. Though architectural records focus on its design and history, it is the mansion's reputation as a haunted house on the hill that has captured the imaginations of locals and visitors alike. Accounts of the White Lady vary, though they share a common theme. A solitary figure, dressed in white, often appearing at dusk or in the early morning mist, witnesses describe her as gliding rather than walking, her movements unnaturally smooth, her face hidden in shadows. Sometimes she is said to hold an object, a small glowing item, a letter or a token, though what it is, no one has confirmed. The first recorded mentions of her apparition date back to the early 20th century, shortly after Craigie Moor was completed, though these are largely anecdotal. Preserved in oral histories and local folklore, many locals associate the White Lady with tragedy. Some claim she was a bride who died before her wedding, waiting eternally for a groom who never arrived. Others suggest she was a resident of Craigie Moor who suffered a sudden or mysterious death, leaving behind a lost possession she now carries, seeking to deliver it to someone in the living world. In all accounts, her presence is described as sorrowful, almost mournful, rather than menacing. Though the sight of her can leave an observer shaken and uneasy over the years, multiple reports have surfaced of people encountering her along the cliff paths that lead past the mansion. A fisherman walking the cliffs during a stormy evening described a luminous figure standing at the edge of the rocks, holding what appeared to be a glowing object. He recounted feeling a sudden drop in temperature and an overwhelming sense of sorrow emanating from the figure, though he could see no face by the time he blinked. She had vanished. The following morning, locals found a small white glove resting on the path, perfectly intact despite the previous night's rain. While such details may be anecdotal, they contribute to the enduring aura of mystery surrounding Craigie Moor and the surrounding cliffs. Tourists and locals alike report that sightings of the White Lady are more likely during periods of heavy mist, or when the sun is low on the horizon, casting long shadows across the rocks. Some argue that these environmental factors explain the appearances, reflections of light, fog, or the interplay of waves and cliff formations. But the legend persists, supported by generations of storytellers who have walked these cliffs themselves. In particular, older residents of Treader Bay remember tales passed down from their parents and grandparents, describing the White Lady as a cautionary figure, a reminder that certain places hold memory and emotion long after the people who inhabited them are gone. Craigie Moor itself is central to these tales. Its high vantage point, exposed to the elements and overlooking the bay, provides a dramatic backdrop for sightings. The mansion's architectural design, tall windows, imposing stone walls, and elevated terraces, adds to its visual impact, especially under low light or during foggy conditions. While historians and architectural enthusiasts focus on its style and significance as a Grade II listed building, those interested in the supernatural focus on its position and history as a locus for ghost stories. It is not only the mansion that lends itself to these tales. The surrounding cliffs and coves provide natural settings for eerie encounters. Paths that wind along the rocky edges are steep and isolated, and the sound of waves crashing against the rocks below can amplify any sense of unease. Those who claim to have seen the White Lady often describe her appearing where the cliff meets the path, as if standing on the threshold between the human world and the unseen. Despite the lack of formal documentation in newspapers or historical records, the legend continues to thrive in local culture. It is mentioned in walking guides, online tourism sites, and local heritage collections, frequently with caveats that the sightings are unverified or anecdotal. Some authors place the White Lady in the broader context of Welsh folklore, where spectral women in white, often tied to tragic events, are a common motif. In Welsh, such figures are sometimes referred to as Wai Ladi Wen, and they appear in stories throughout North Wales, each tied to a specific location and tale of loss or warning. The continued fascination with the White Lady of Tredur Bay illustrates the human desire to link place and memory, to find stories in the natural environment around us. While some may seek rational explanations, optical illusions, tricks of the light, the imagination, the stories persist, passed down by those who have walked the cliffs and felt, even briefly, that they were not alone.